Welcome to Hank Fi Talk, where we dive deep into money, mindset, and the movement that's redefining what it means to live a rich life. Today, we're not just talking dollars and cents, we're talking about a revolution, a generational shift. Gen Z, born between 1997 and 2012, is flipping the script. They're putting well-being before wealth, mental health before hustle, purpose before paychecks. Let's break it down. The rise of well-being over wealth. Let's start with the numbers. According to a 2025 Investopedia survey, 64% of Gen Z say they value peace of mind more than building wealth. More than half say they would willingly take a lower-paying job if it meant better work-life balance. That's a massive shift from previous generations. For baby boomers and even Gen X, success was defined by the corner office, the 30-year tenure, the gold watch at retirement. But Gen Z, they're flipping that script. They're saying, I'd rather have time than a title. I want my life back, not just my weekends. What does that look like in real life? It looks like 22-year-olds turning down high-pressure roles at big firms in favor of flexible, remote freelance gigs. It looks like new graduates choosing startups over corporate giants, not for equity, but for autonomy. It's a conscious decision to chase something other than the next promotion. Here's what they're asking for: flexible schedules that fit around their lives, the freedom to work remotely, not as a perk, but as a default, mental health days without guilt, and time for side hustles, creativity, and relationships. They're rejecting the old rise and grind mindset, not because they're lazy, but because they've seen the cost. They watched their parents burn out. They lived through a pandemic that proved how fragile everything is, so instead of chasing status or stuff, they're choosing intentional living, slower, healthier, more human. This isn't about quitting ambition, it's about redefining it. Mental health takes center stage. One thing that defines Gen Z more than any generation before them, they talk about mental health openly, regularly, and without shame. A 2023 McKinsey report called Gen Z the most emotionally aware generation. 75% say mental health is more important than salary. Mental health-related hashtags on TikTok have over 40 billion views. And platforms like BetterHelp and Headspace are seeing record signups from users under 30. But this isn't just about downloads and hashtags. It's about how Gen Z shows up in the workplace. They're setting boundaries. They're taking mental health days seriously. They're choosing to step back rather than push through burnout. Consider this. A 25-year-old nurse in New Jersey quit her job during the pandemic and now works as a yoga teacher and wellness coach. Her income is lower, but her quality of life off the charts. It's a recurring theme. Gen Z is proving that emotional stability is worth more than a padded paycheck. They value therapy over overtime, breaks over breakdowns, joy over job titles. They want to feel good, not just look successful, and they're leading the way in making that okay. Quiet quitting and redefining ambition. Let's talk about the phrase that blew up in 2022, quiet quitting. It doesn't mean quitting your job, it means doing only what you're paid for, not going above and beyond if it isn't rewarded. Why work late every night if it doesn't move the needle? Why sacrifice your personal life for KPI? Gen Z is challenging the idea that hustle equals value. They're redefining ambition. Ambition to them isn't climbing a corporate ladder. It's building a life they don't need a vacation from, having time for hobbies and family, working on passion projects that matter. We're seeing a shift from career-centered identities to life-centered identities. A 2024 survey from Deloitte found that 61% of Gen Z workers say they don't see themselves staying in the same field for more than 5 years. They want freedom. They want change. They want fulfillment. And they're willing to walk away from prestige to get it. Freelancing, side hustles, and multiple income streams. Gen Z isn't lazy. They're just selective. They're not rejecting work. They're rejecting unrewarding work, and that's why so many of them are freelancing. 70% of Gen Z workers say they want to work independently at some point. More than half have a side hustle. They make money through content creation, digital marketing, reselling, dropshipping, investing. Why the shift? Because multiple income streams equal freedom. It means you don't have to stay in a job you hate. It means you're less vulnerable during layoffs. It means you can build wealth and live fully. Living with less, choosing purpose. Let's talk minimalism. Gen Z isn't buying into the more is more lifestyle. They're not obsessed with cars or big houses. They want flexibility, simplicity, mobility. A 2024 Pew survey found that 58% of Gen Z say they would rather spend money on experiences than possessions. You've seen it: van life videos, tiny house tours, travel influencers working remotely from Bali. They're finding joy in less, and that comes with benefit: lower expenses, less financial pressure, more freedom to pivot. Many are ditching city life for smaller towns or even living abroad to reduce cost of living. They're not giving up on life, they're giving up on debt, and it's working. The rise of financial literacy and DIY investing. Here's where it gets interesting. Gen Z might avoid corporate life, but they love learning about money. Unlike previous generations who learned about money too late, Gen Z is opening Roth IRAs in high school, investing in index funds in college, budgeting with apps like YNAB and Mint. A 2023 survey found that 54% of Gen Z investors started before the age of 20, and while older generations laughed at Robinhood, Gen Z used it to learn. They're big fans of long-term investing. They're not perfect, but they're learning fast, and they know that financial literacy is freedom. So what does this all mean? It means we're watching the American dream get rewritten. Not abandoned, redefined. They're chasing alignment. They're saying, I'll take peace over pressure. I'll choose meaning over money. I'd rather live now than retire rich but miserable. And that's the revolution. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to Hank Fi Talk for more real talk about money.